Okay, so I know some people haven't ever done this, so I'm going to show you a quick demonstration of how I solder these. It's really pretty simple process. So all I do is I take my wire, or my tube, and then you're going to use your barbs. You want to make sure that the barbs face the correct way. So there is a right way and a wrong way. You want the flat edge to go towards the tube. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to need is a decent soldering iron. I like to use this for this type of application. I use this little Weller. This is, I believe, a 10 to 30 watt iron. I'll do a more in-depth soldering video later on things like gear, and because you can fix your gear if it ever breaks. And electronics. I will do an all-inclusive video on those things to give you some of those tips as well. Next thing you're going to need is you're going to need some flux. I actually like paste flux. I think it works a little bit better than the liquid stuff, and an acid brush. So all you do with the flux is, what the flux does, just so you know, is this cleans up the metal, and it also helps the solder flow to the joint. You don't need very much flux. You're going to go ahead and flux your tube, and then you're going to take your barb with the flat edges facing the tube and go ahead and slide the barb onto the tube. These are a pretty tight fit, so you may have to fiddle with it for just a second to get it slid on there correctly, because you want to make sure it's flush on the end. So it's going to look just like that. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply heat, and for this application I'm just going to use regular electronics flux. I'm looking, this is regular 6040 rosin core solder. It's going to be perfect for this application. There's a couple of different types of solder that we'll get into in the other video. There's things for soldering metals together, like gear and whatnot. I like to use silver solder for that. It's a little bit different, but we'll cover that in the other video. So this is really simple. You can see all I've done is I've put my barb on there, clean off my soldering tip, and then all I simply do is apply heat to my tube and my barb. It doesn't take very much, and it doesn't take very long. And then you take your solder, and when it heats up, it will grab. There, it's getting warm enough. Just a tiny little bit of solder, and that's all there is to it. I know there's a lot of people that are intimidated by this step, but it really is that simple. And you can see here I've got a perfect solder joint. Everything is good to go, and that barb is not going to come off there.